say I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate the opportunity to speak here. It's kind of strange, right? The police department here talking about homelessness. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that there's no other department in the nation that has a homeless outreach team that involves the police department. One of the numbers I'm pretty concerned about is this 500. I think Kelly alluded to it, and it's been mentioned before. The approximate 500 people downtown that are sleeping on the streets every night. But there's another number that I need to bring up too, and that's zero. The number 0, because that's the number of available beds each night. Yep. So when the police department goes out and speaks to people on the street, or when any of your outreach workers go out on the street, there's really no place to tell anybody to go to, right? Right? And so that is one of the quandaries from the police department, because people call us like we're going to be able to solve this issue in 20 minutes. And what I found is that it's an unbelievably complex situation. You know, the stories of homelessness, I have many. I see a lot of recovery out there. I see everything, I see things working. I can tell you through the SIP program, I've seen some remarkable recovery stories. And what I try to do is tell the officers that recovery is possible and that you need to be patient. And one of the things the officers need to know is that it's not their responsibility to solve this issue. So you don't need to do something every time you get a radio call. You can just let it be and not get too involved. But one of the individuals I saw, he was on the street face down on July 4th weekend a couple of years ago, completely intoxicated. Ambulance came, we said, no, we're not going to do the ambulance thing with you anymore. We're going to take you to jail. We're going to get you into the SIP program. He'd been through recovery programs before. Well, right now, he did go through the recovery program. We got him out of jail like we said we were going to do. And right now, he's actually the house manager for the SIP program. He's been doing that for a couple years. So stories like that happen, and programs make it happen. I have a minute to talk about programs that are making an impact. Of course, I feel the serial inebriate program is making an impact. But one thing I gotta tell you, the way I see it, is that none of these programs work without funding. Right? And there's been some step-ups on funding. And one of them is the Housing Commission. Another one's Alcohol and Drug Services, United Way. The VI Index worked really well, but all that was done by funders. And the funding comes from people like you out here that endorse these programs and talk it up and make it work. But we should always remember that without the funding, we're pretty much nowhere. And that's the way it all kind of works. On the making an impact situation, and I want to go to this lingering problem, you know, from the police department standpoint, of course, we have the personal property left on the street. What's going to happen with that? How do you deal with that? And nobody here wants the police department to be involved with that, correct? Right? I think we learned that, was it 2-3 years ago, we figured that out? But then we got all this cool money to run that program, so. The hospital respite care is kind of one of my things. I mean, we have homeless people being taken care of in the hospital and they're bounced out to the street or to here without a phone call. So that to me is one of is a big issue. And the other one is people calling the police department asking us to solve this gigantic problem. Like, I get phone calls and it's like, can somebody get rid of these guys? And I'm like, the last I checked, it wasn't the police department's responsibility to get rid of people. That's not what we do. And I spend a lot of time training the officers to tell them that that's not our job. Go out and enforce the law. So this lingering problem of people calling the police department, and we need to get involved with all this stuff. Communities need to get involved, and the police department will support what the community wants to do. So when it comes down to winter shelters and all that, we're going to support what everybody in the community wants to do, and we're, you know, and that.
All right.
I think that's it.